Hi, I'm Bart Hanson, the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description.
Is I open under the gun +1 with queens for 20, and I end up getting 5 callers.
Right? 5 callers.
5 callers. The main villain is in the hijack. He's the only one I'll describe. He's a young Asian that's been playing pretty solid. Decent thinking player. I haven't seen him make any big mistakes, at least.
Okay.
He's got 1,500 in front of him.
1,500 at a 2-5 cap game. Okay.
Right. Pot's 120. Flop comes out 9 of hearts, 4 of hearts, offsuit deuce.
And you have black queens, or you don't know what you have?
I do not have the heart.
Okay. So we'll put them as black queens.
Black
okay. So 120.
Okay. And do you want me to tell you what I did? Or
yeah, go ahead.
Your thoughts. So I bet 55.
Okay.
And I thought, keep it on the small side and see what the field does.
Mm-hmm.
Folds to the villain who's in the hijack. He calls with 2 people behind him. I think the 2 people behind him is kind of important for putting him on ranges.
Mm-hmm.
And they both fold. So it goes heads up to the turn.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Turn is 6 of clubs.
6 of clubs,
and
okay.
I kept the sizing a little bit small again, too. I bet 100. And his mannerisms looked like he painfully called.
So, yeah, this is sort of kind of sucks with these cap games. So, and especially multi. I mean, here's the thing: people don't realize that when you're playing 100 big blind live games, due to the multi-way nature, when you think of 100 big blinds like in a tournament, you think like that's a crazy amount, right? But in games like this, due to the nature of what is usually a 4 or 5x open sizing, like you chose 4, which is probably on the smaller side for a lot of these guys, and the nature of it being so multi-way, like you're not even betting 50% of the pot on the flop and on the turn, and like you only have 200 left. Like you've committed 175 of your 375, and the pot's like 430. So you have like half a pot, like 30% of a pot size bet left. I mean, you started at 80 big blinds, but whatever. And you weren't even really sizing that large. And that has to do with the fact that just the pre-flop open gets so many callers, the pot just gets big very quickly in these 100 BB cap games, from what I've noticed. So you get into some very awkward spots. I mean, you bet 100, Dave. Now, let me ask you this question. You said the guy paying called. What if he would have just moved? Like, if he had just moved all in. Now, there's front door hearts and backdoor clubs. I assume you would call off, or is that normally indicative of a set? But I wouldn't think at 2-5 you wouldn't. I wouldn't think at 2-5 guys slow play sets all that much with a couple guys behind them.
Right, that was my thinking too.
Uh-huh.
Is if it was 3-way or he was last to act,
yeah,
then I could fold on a turn shove.
Mm-hmm.
But with 2 guys behind him on the flop and 2 hearts on the flop, I don't see him slow playing a set there.
Yeah. So now the pot's 430, and you've got 175 left. Yeah.
And my big questions here is my sizing, because I didn't put him on anything strong.
Uh-huh.
I mean, middle pairs is probably still in his range. Hearts is still in his range. Maybe there's a couple great draws out there. Ace-X of hearts is probably a big part of it.
Yeah.
The turn brings what I think is another brick, is a jack of clubs.
River,
sorry.
Is it does it bring a backdoor flush in, or is it, you're saying it's a brick?
No. So there's club, heart, and I don't know whether the 2 is a spade or a diamond.
Okay.
But no flush comes in.
So there were front door hearts and backdoor clubs, and now the river is just an offsuit jack, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So now your question is, what do you do with 175 left, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that I will always maintain, now whether the games have changed a little bit at the lower stakes, I don't know, that usually a guy isn't going to just suddenly bluff a misdraw here. So let's say he's got nut hearts and you check. He's not going to bluff. You know what I mean? I mean, this is a good example of a situation where, if you were to like read about checking to induce a bluff, hey, this might be the case where, because of what the board is and because he called twice and there's so many draws that missed, his hand is most likely a draw, right? Like if you look at the river, let's say he arrives at a draw like 80% of the time, and he's got like a 9, you know, maybe some percentage of the time, like very some small percentage of the time, or he flatted you with like 10, some small percentage of the time, or something like that. Or he's got ace 9, right? The
Right.
problem is that like if the draws don't bluff, then checking can't really be right, even if he arrives at the river 80% of the time with a draw, because they're just going to check back. So it really becomes a situation where most of the time he's missed a draw. Sometimes he has a very weak made hand, and then you have to ask yourself, how often is he going to bluff a draw? If you think he's the type that's going to bluff a draw a lot or more than the regular pool, then okay, you could play this as a check call. My experience is that's not the case, and I would probably bet very, very small to try to get called by some of the weaker portions of his showdown range, if you follow me.
I
See what I'm
do.
saying? Yeah.
Yes.
Now, do you think he would? You'd never seen this guy before. Do you think he would just wildly bluff a draw if you checked? Would he?
No, so I don't think he. I mentioned that he seems to be playing pretty solid, and I haven't seen him make any mistakes.
Uh huh.
I can't believe that he would think he has any fold equity when I put in 2/3 of my stack.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think he's bad enough to bluff in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
But
So,
you must be a good teacher though, because I ended up betting 70,
okay, you bet 70. Yep.
and he tanked for quite some time, and then finally threw in a black chip and made the call.
And you were good.
That was good. Yeah.
That's good. I like that. I mean, the only thing that I would say also too is that sometimes when you bet super small like that, it causes people to spaz out. So the one
Yeah,
thing,
that was my follow-up question was,
yeah,
if I did do that, if he does just ship over it, I have to call there, right?
I would find it very hard to not call, given the way that this hand went out off, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the only hand that, because remember, like you said, you went through the flop and the turn process. Like he's never gonna have a set here. So really, the only thing that changes is if he has Jack 9 suited, which occasionally maybe he does. But sometimes when you make these really, really small sizings, people will spaz out. They'll increase their bluffing frequency. So I can't see us not, even though river bluff raises are rare, I think I would call, especially for if it's just 100 more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was what I decided. I decided to do the call before I sized it to 70 on my bet.
Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA100. Click on the link right there.